Story 1. My brother took his own life 7 years ago. I considered it seriously not long after this. But I couldn't leave my daughter behind, knowing that she might struggle in the same way one day, and she too would have no one to turn to for help. Story 2. My father-in-law took an early exit. It destroyed his family and caused permanent, severe damage to his children, all of whom were adults at the time. I would rather suffer every single day of my life than do that to my loved ones. And the harm doesn't even stop with the family and friends. I recently talked to the firefighter who cut him down, and he's still suffering from that trauma nearly 20 years later. I could not do that to another person. To be clear, I don't think my father-in-law realized the effect his choice would have. He truly thought everyone would be okay. He was wrong. Having seen the aftermath, I know what it would do, so my options are different. Story 3. As a teenager, I was waiting for my childhood dog to die. As a young man, I was waiting for my mom to die. Now, I've made it so long and been through so much that I feel validated for it. I feel reasons now to live my future in an effort to repay my past, so that way it wasn't all for nothing. Story 4. Man, a few things. When I was 15, just a week before my 16th birthday, I admitted myself to a mental health facility. I was there for 4 nights and 5 days. Those 4 nights and 5 days changed my life. But let's back up a little bit. Why did I go and get help? My little brother had just been born 2 months prior. I couldn't bear the thought of him growing up and asking our mom who the girl in the pictures on the wall is. I also couldn't bear the thought of my mom burying me. They say a parent shouldn't ever bury their child. It should always be the child that buries their parent. I've seen far too many parents bury their kids, so this hits home. I knew I had to stay for my little brother, and then I met my now girlfriend, and then my little sister was born. Man, 3 ultra-important people in my life. My little brother looks up to me every day. My girlfriend loves me endlessly, and my little sister loves to bully me, which gives me life because her little attitude is amazing. I'm 24 now. Since my hospitalization, I've come out about my sexual assault. I've gotten the help I needed. And I can say that although I'm not exactly where I want to be in life, I'll get there eventually, and I can say that overall I'm happy. Of course, everyone could be happier, but I'll get there all within time. I have a support system that loves me endlessly. I have a roof over my head, an amazing life with an amazing girl. I have a job, even if I don't like it. I have a family that wants the best of the best for me. The list goes on and on. Because I stayed, I'm graduating college in December, the first in my family ever. Because I stayed, I get to propose to my girlfriend next year. Because I stayed, I get to watch my younger siblings go on their first playdates, try new foods, take them sledding for the first time, and so much more. Because I stayed, I get to tell my story and hopefully help others throughout that. Wow. Thank you all so much for your kind and heartwarming responses. They mean so much to me, I can't even put it into words. Story 5. When it came down to it, I could not give up my curiosity about what tomorrow looks like. Even though I was expecting my tomorrows to get worse and worse, I was still curious about how bad they could get. Once I realized that curiosity was my core emotion, I reoriented my life to start chasing it instead of happiness. Life got a lot better after that, and I am glad I stuck around to see it. Story 6. I lost both of my parents when I was 15 in an accident. Since then, I lived on with my grandma. My grandma is my biggest reason to stay. She has always been a constant source of love and happiness in my life. She knows whenever I feel down. She knows whenever I feel sad, without a word or a clue. My grandma always knows. Her stories about watching me grow up and the struggles she overcame inspire me to keep pushing forward. Plus, her homemade honey lemon tea. Just knowing I have her support and that she believes in me reminds me that life is worth living. Story 7. Pets. The idea of me going weeks decomposing without anyone noticing doesn't bother me. But the idea of my pets being separated and rehomed hurts too much. They have been through enough. They deserve a stable home. Story 8. I'm not depressed anymore. But when I was young, several older folks I loved died of acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. They were young, vibrant, gorgeous people. When I was depressed, I'd think about how angry they'd be at me for wasting time, squandering my health. That forced me to get better. It was a long journey, but I'm honoring them with my life. Find your reason. Story 9. Honestly, I am a coward, but sometimes I think that there are many things that I want to try. For instance, I want to eat a strawberry. I want to be able to buy a pizza and eat it by myself. I want to be able to buy clothes that I like and feel pretty. They are silly dreams, but sometimes they are worth fighting for. Story 10. So many of us on here and so many stories resonate. I'm about to turn 55. I got dumped earlier this year by the love of my life and have had to start much of my life from scratch after an incredibly difficult 18 months. My brother died from complications relating to a suicide attempt last year, and it affected the rest of my family deeply. If it wasn't for that and my son, I'd be considering other options. I don't want to affect other people's mental well-being any more than it has been recently. Story 11. My mom. I could never ruin her life. Also, sometimes I have moments where I think, wow, life is beautiful, accompanied by overwhelming joy, so I remind myself of those moments. And then also ingrained fears from childhood that hell is real, and I do not want to risk that I might be going there. Story 12. I've tried it twice. It didn't work. I should have been dead, for real, and doctors didn't understand how I survived. The third time, I got into a car accident that almost ended me. For people passed, and I didn't. It just won't work. Story 13. My favorite people, but also my favorite things. The excitement of getting to see something that I love continue to get released and appreciated helps lift me up when I'm really stressed out sometimes. Story 14. I am at the bottom. It literally cannot get worse. So either I will stay in the exact same state or things will improve. The only way to find out is to stick around, so I might as well. Story 15. Currently, my birds. I made my will, and 3 months later, I bought birds because I hoped they would fill the void. They do, but of course, they don't cure the stupidity of this world and society. Making a new will to ensure they end up with my grandparents would cost too much. So I'm just waiting until I definitely have enough reasons to feel justified to leave because I took on the responsibility of getting pets, and I need to make sure, as their owner, they will be looked after very well. Story 16. Being an agnostic, my biggest fear my entire life has been that there is no life after death. That when we die, it is just total emptiness. For that reason alone, I am very confident that I am not in danger. Despite struggling with major depressive disorder, many other mental and physical health issues, and absolutely no friends or family, my best and only friend is my therapist. I have ideations constantly, but it always ends abruptly in that same fear. Not healthy and not the answer for you, just an honest personal experience. Story 17. The little things. Rolling around in my fluffy blanket in my warm bed. Cute cats. Early morning sunrises. Flavored coffee. Creamsicles. Ice cream. Candy. Rainy days. Medium rare blackened steak. Hanging around the house naked and dancing to music. My favorite is telling raunchy or terrible jokes to see people's eyes bug out and try to make them laugh. They either love me or think I'm a freak. Holding my grandpa's hand to make him happy. Shopping at my favorite thrift shop even though the owner hates me for no reason. It has the most stylish vintage clothes ever for cheap. I never looked hotter. Driving around the city in my big truck. Driving is awesome. Waving and saying hello to the police as they go by, knowing my license expired 5 years ago. Meeting handsome, charming gentlemen. When I wear a dress and brush my hair and suddenly men are opening doors and giving me their chair. When a stranger looks depressed, but then I smile at them and say hello, and their whole body and face light up and they are full of things to say. Sometimes when I'm brave and talk to people, they even give me little gifts, foods, little keepsakes, all sorts of things. This week, someone gave me a beautiful big plant trimming and someone else is giving me seeds for a garden next summer. Last month, a new Ukrainian couple in my city gave me a bucket full of red and golden raspberries, a strawberry plant and vegetables too, all for free just out of kindness. They told me all their secrets to gardening. For years, I hid in my bedroom, but when I re-emerged, it was like living a second childhood. Since I didn't get to have fun last time, I'm having fun this time. You deserve to have fun. Life is very depressing if there's no fun. The big one is that I love my baby sister and brother, and I will never abandon them like our mother did. I suppose another one is that since my mom essentially left me to die, in some way I feel that I must overcome in spite of her. I must show her. She won't win. Since it gives her pleasure to see me suffer, I deny her that pleasure and I refuse her. I embrace my life instead. Story 18. I don't know, honestly. I probably think about just wanting to check out every single day. But something deep down inside me compels me to stick around. For what? Or why? I still don't know. But my primal urge to keep going compels me to wait. Story 19. Complete lack of motivation to do anything. Any ideas or invitations from other people either seem uninteresting or daunting in how much effort they take. Your mind and body basically just shut down, and you watch the day pass at a snail's pace. Story 20. My wife and kids. I have a decent life insurance policy from work. I had to retire due to recurrent cancer. I'm in remission now. The difficult part is that my depression stems from surviving cancer. They prepare you for dying, not surviving. It's weird to feel relieved and depressed at the same time. The three of them were the reason I beat cancer. They're still the reason I survive no matter how bad it gets. Story 21. My reason to stay is that I think the other option is selfish. My reason to get better is the sound of relief in my dad's voice when I finally let him know I was alive after being a recluse for a while. No anger at causing him and my mom so much stress. No disappointment. Just pure joy and relief that the worst hadn't happened. If he can be that excited I'm alive, I figure I can be too. Story 22. My car hasn't died yet, so neither have I. I am privileged to have my little 90s sports car that I can drop the top on and let the wind catch my hair. The happiest moments I've had after my father passed away have been with that car. Story 23. You're getting a lot of bad advice. When you feel terrible, having someone tell you there's a reason for you to be here, that God and Jesus love you, and you have to keep fighting and learning life's lessons, that's all just nonsense. When someone takes their own life, friends and family often say they had no idea the person was depressed. But when you try to talk to someone close to you, they don't want to hear it. They'll give you the same unhelpful, off-the-cuff advice you're getting here. Then they'll change the subject and ignore you. Antidepressants put some sunlight into my life, and I try to do things that make me happy. For me now, that's woodworking and landscaping my house. I drive the truck I want, wear the clothes I like, eat what I like, and listen to the music I like. I keep to myself and just exist one more day at a time. Story 24. Like being more bored than you could imagine, but also not wanting to do anything at all, even breathe. So you want to do something, but you can't imagine anything that you would like to do, so you're just sort of stuck. Story 25. The idea of someone having to find me and deal with my body and all of my things. I can't stand the thought of being a burden one final time and ruining someone's life by having to find me dead. It's what I make myself think about every time things are particularly bad because I know that as bad as things get for me, I'd never knowingly hurt someone that way. Story 26. When writing my notes a few months back, I realized I haven't really lived at all. There are a few things that I really love yet have not been able to experience. I want to be able to ride horses and explore mountainous regions, and be able to see the aurora with my own eyes. So I'll try to do that first before I make my final decision. Story 27. My kids. I also gave my life to Jesus, and it has helped me get through my depression. I mean, it is still there, bipolar depression, but it is not as bad as it was. I am 4 years sober now. Story 28. My mom. I have an extremely good relationship with her and such a strong respect for her. She can and will do anything and everything for me when I need help. She put her blood, sweat, and tears into raising me, so I could have a better life growing up than she did. Whenever I'm on the edge, I think about how heartbroken she would be and how she doesn't deserve that. I try every day to love myself as much as she loves me, so she can see me thrive and know her hard work was worth it. Story 29. I suffer intensely from physical pain of unknown origin. I'm going blind. I have had chronic fatigue for most of my life at this point, along with other awful health-related issues. Dogs keep me alive. I have one dog now, and I could never leave him. I often think of Seymour from Futurama when I think of my death. A dog waiting for me for 20 years sounds so awful. I am not alone in my life. I have close family members, but they know my horrible suffering. They also keep me alive. I'd hate to destroy them too, but at least they could understand why I did it. A dog would never understand. Dogs. We don't deserve them. I'm so lucky to have known so many of them. Story 30. Being too broke to afford death. If I inherit any money or somehow win the lottery, I'll enjoy a couple of months and then excuse myself from this world before it goes back to being terrible. Story 31. My daughter always turns to me as mommy for everything. She comes to me when she's upset, asks for me when she wants to eat, and doesn't want to go outside without me. I can't imagine leaving her behind or her not understanding how her mommy is no longer there. That fear makes it hard for me to let go of my own life. That's why I continue to fight and get up every day, even though I feel like a part of me died a long time ago.